Hi everyone, my name is Sally Fowler. I'm the owner and trainer for Disabled Advantage. Thank you for joining me on this Patreon tier, Service Dog Questions Answered. Today's question is a CRPS service dog a cure? A CRPS service dog is a life changer and it's a game changer. Absolutely. Is it a cure? No. Here's the thing. Service dogs are not magical. Awesome? Yes. Magical? No. CRPS is a neurological disorder and they cannot help that. Once CRPS starts, there is no cure for it. If your CRPS is caught within the first 6 months to a year of the onset, and you have really smart doctors who are really open-minded, who help you right away and who recognize it, you have the possibility of remission. That's unfortunately not the case for everybody with CRPS. A lot of people, it takes years to get diagnosed, or even if it is caught early, the treatments just don't work on them for whatever reason. And there are some people like myself who exhausts all the treatment options and none of them were successful, or some of them were partially successful, but not successful enough on their own. That's where service dogs can change the game for it. They can make a huge difference in somebody's life with CRPS. And they're not the perfect solution though. And so if you're new to CRPS and you want a service dog and you're looking at it with really bright, shiny eyes, I'm probably going to want to talk to you for a little while before I help you train a service dog. Just because CRPS it transforms your entire life. And as much as I want to give you help as fast as possible, I also don't want to lull you into a false sense of security or a false sense of hope that your service dog is magically going to make everything better, because that's not the case. Especially if you train your own service dog, it's a weird mix of assistance, an intense strengthening program, and a quality of life booster that also causes you a lot of pain along the way. I worry about people who freshly get diagnosed by CRPS and their doctor immediately tells them to get a service dog, because in my experience with this condition, you need a bit of time to adapt to how CRPS is going to affect your life and how things have changed for you, and then add in a service dog, because a service dog is its own adaptation, is its own thing to get used to how you do life with a service dog. And it's better if you already know how to do life with CRPS, because then you're not trying to learn CRPS life and service dog life all at the same time. Not saying it's not possible. It is absolutely possible to learn both at the same time. But learning both at the same time is very difficult. It is going to add extra stress to your life. Service dogs are not magical. I want to keep saying that because they're kind of portrayed like magical creatures in media and on places like TikTok, where you only have a matter of seconds to show something. And that's one reason why I don't have a TikTok account for Disabled Advantage. The other reason is that I'd be forced to use my phone, which is a trigger for my pain and tremors and loss of hand awareness. So I don't subject myself to that. Service dogs look magical, but they're not going to cure your CRPS. They're not going to make it go away. Especially if your CRPS is centralized, your entire nervous system has been changed. If it's only in one body part, some of your nervous systems have already been changed. How your brain perceives things has already been changed. And even for people who have successful treatments, they're still not cured. Their CRPS is in remission and it can come back. When it comes back with a vengeance. So that's really important to understand. But service dogs can make a really big difference. So here's what a service dog can do for you. If not cure you, they can help with the daily or sporadic physical symptoms and the casualties of being in severe pain and all of the accompanying symptoms like muscle spasms, muscle weakness, fatigue, tremors, brain fog, severe pain, loss of balance, falling down, dropping things. Service dogs can help with some of those things, and for some people, they can help with all of those things. It just depends on what combination of things you're living with your CRPS and what level of help you need. If you cannot stand up without leaning on a walker, a service dog is not going to be able to fill that role. The walker is. But your service dog might be able to help with something else in your life that the CRPS is causing. If you have spasms and tremors and they give you the dropsies, a service dog is going to help retrieve things for you. They're going to pick things up off the ground. They're going to pick up things you drop. They're going to get things off of shelves. They're going to carry things from one place to another for you so you don't have to worry about dropping it. One thing I've been able to do with my current service dog, Austin, is my hands are really, really sensitive to temperature, and especially cold temperature. Other times they don't perceive the temperature accurately, which is a whole other thing I'm going to get to. But my hands are really sensitive to cold temperatures. And we have a deep freezer that a lot of our produce lives in, like frozen produce. And I've been able to have Austin, let's say I need peas for dinner. I can go out to the deep freeze, get a bag of peas. I'm only holding it for a second or two. Then I hand it to Austin. Austin carries it inside for me and puts it someplace so that I can use it to make dinner. So the amount of time that I'm holding the bag of frozen peas is greatly reduced. Now, it's greatly reduced from like 30 seconds to 5 seconds, but for someone with CRPS, that makes a tremendous difference. Because if I were to hold that bag of peas for the whole 30 seconds, my hand would turn bright red, my hand would close in on itself, I would get tremors, it would feel like stabbing pain, like I had a bunch of nails driven through my entire hand, and I would have that pain radiate up through my arm into my shoulder and neck, and my hand would hurt for the rest of the night. I might have trouble making the rest of dinner, and it would be just an extra flare that I didn't need that day. When Austin carries the peas in for me, he prevents that flare from ever starting and prevents the casualties that would have happened from that flare, like not being able to finish dinner or not being able to do dinner the way I'd planned, or maybe not being able to fold laundry later or something like that. If you have pain and muscle weakness and you're a fall risk or you easily lose your balance, a service dog can brace to help you remain steady when you bend over to pick up things, or when you need to stop and tie your shoes mid-walk, or when you need help getting dressed, getting in and out of the shower or bathtub, getting off the toilet, getting off of a chair, getting off the floor after you fall, helping you move to the floor safely to sit on the floor with your kids, or if you're at a picnic. If you have pain, limited range of motion, either because of the pain or because the pain made your muscles atrophy and now you have weakness, maybe you have trouble opening doors or closing doors or handling the dexterity that it takes to open a clothing drawer slowly and accurately. A service dog can help open and close things. And every time they open and close the door, it prevents a flare from you having to open the door or you having to turn the doorknob. And that prevention of that flare gives you more energy to do things later on. If you have perception problems to various temperatures, be it environmental or things that you're directly interacting with, that CRPS starts off affecting your autonomic nervous system and your Yeah, your sensory nervous system. And so parasympathetic, that's what it is. Your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system, they all have so many names. Starts off affecting the side nervous systems. And part of what those nervous systems control are things like heart rate and temperature control. And the CRPS goes for that first. So when you have problems perceiving temperature correctly, you tend to have hot flares where it feels like you're in a hot tub that's turned up too high, or you have cold flares where it feels like you're in a freezer, or you have hot and cold flares at the exact same time, which are as fabulous as they sound. And sometimes you might pass out because you don't perceive temperature correctly. I have a really hard time in the summer with heat stress because even if the temperatures outside are not actually hot enough to cause heat stress in normal people, my body, more often than not, doesn't actually perceive what they are accurately. And so I don't get heat stress, but I get the symptoms of heat stress because my body thinks there's trouble when there's actually not. And then that causes very real problems. Sometimes I pass out if I don't perceive temperature correctly. And a service dog can help with those things. They can do deep cold where the dog lays on you or lays near you to stabilize your body temperature if you're having a cold flare. If you're having a hot flare, they might be able to bring you things like bring you water or bring you a cold pack. They might also be able to pull a blanket up over you because after your hot flare, you might slip into a cold flare. And they can brace and they can respond. If you pass out, they can check in, make sure you're alert, make sure you wake up, and then get you off the ground and get you someplace safe. So those are all examples of how CRPS affects you, and the dog can be trained to assist in those moments. None of what they're doing, opening a door doesn't stop the CRPS from ruining your day, but it does give you more energy to tackle your entire day. I remember before I had a service dog, I was mostly bedridden or couch ridden, and my activities for the day included designing things on my computer from bed. And I was lucky if I managed to do one activity like wash dishes or do laundry in an entire day, because doing laundry or doing dishes was so exhausting and triggered so much pain, tremors, muscle weakness for me that I didn't have the functionality or the capacity to do anything else in a day. And because of partnering with a service dog, I was able to exercise and walk and get out and do hobbies and do laundry and dishes in the same day and do things with my friends and start a business. And the opportunities and the possibilities widened because of a service dog's assistance. Am I cured? No. Still in horrible pain every day. But the service dog became a very important piece to the puzzle of helping me manage CRPS and have a higher quality of life. So on that note, some of the things that a service dog can do these are not tasks. I want to be very clear about that. But these are the benefits of working with a service dog and how it can positively impact your life with CRPS. It can increase your quality of life. When your pain is under control better, you are able to go do things with your life more. You still have recovery days. You still have, well, I'm in a lot of pain now, but that was a really great day. That still happens. But when you're able to do more, your quality of life goes up, your mental health goes up, and your outlook on life goes up. It increases your level of independence. Where I needed help, I needed a person to help me put my pants on, I can now ask a service dog for that assistance, and I have more independence. I'm not totally reliant on another person to be able to take care of myself every day. My pain is more stable and my symptom levels are less all over the map because the service dog is doing flare triggers for me. The service dog is doing things that we know trigger pain or trigger symptoms. And so when he does them for me, it means that I'm not experiencing them. And so those flares aren't being triggered and things stay more stable. I used to have a lot of swelling. I used to have a lot of paralysis. I used to have a lot of loss of limb awareness. And the more the service dog helped in all sorts of areas, you think things aren't connected, but things are interconnected in just crazy ways. We teach opening doors and bracing first. And even just with those two things, I start to fall down less. I have less loss of limb awareness. I have less instances of severe fatigue. And it makes a huge difference on the day-to-day course of my life and my functionality because of what the dog is doing. You have increased activity levels. When you're not in out of control pain, when you have a little bit more energy, you're not in severe levels of fatigue, you can actually exercise and do hobbies and hang out with your friends. And you're moving more, which your CRPS hates, but also your CRPS hates being still, more than likely. And so when you have a service dog working with you, there's the potential that you're going to figure out how to be more active. That's going to keep you healthier for longer. Healthy is sort of a weird term when you have CRPS, but just go with it. It's going to keep you healthier for longer, and it's going to build up your tolerance and your stamina over time. Doesn't happen overnight. Definitely a slow crawl for this one, but it helps over time. That's what's really important. When we're more active, we figure out how to push through the pain better. And the pain doesn't just become like a weighted blanket holding us down. We figure out how to move with it and we adapt to the pain better. You develop more tolerance and stamina also because of the increased activity that you're able to do, because of the energy that you're given from the dog doing things that normally took your energy and increased your pain levels, but also because we have to take care of our service dog. They have to have exercise. They have to have playtime. They have to have breaks. They have to be fed. And all of those things make us do something. And when you stay more active with CRPS, your muscles don't atrophy as bad. Still atrophy some, don't atrophy as bad. You might not lose the ability to walk. I cannot guarantee any of this. I cannot promise any of this. And everybody with CRPS is different. But I can tell you, I am more active than most people with CRPS. And I have remained more active and more functional than a lot of other people with CRPS. And part of that activity is because I'm really, really stubborn and I have a very high drive for being active. But a huge part of it, I know, is the service dog, because I've had times where I had a service dog and I've had times where I didn't have a service dog and then got a service dog back, retirement, finding new dog, training new dog finished training. And we definitely know that a service dog is a really important part to me maintaining my activity levels and my tolerance for the pain, my ability to adapt to the pain in any given moment, and my stamina overall. If I stop being as active, whenever I return to activity, it's 3 times as hard for me to get moving again, just an estimate, as it is for somebody else. So if I have a sprain or an injury of another kind, and I'm not active on a daily basis, I'm not active in the same way that I was, whenever I try to get back to my normal, it's like pushing 3 giant boulders up a massive hill all by myself. And that reinforces to us that being active is really important for me and maintaining my level of stability with CRPS. But being active looks different for everybody. So being active for me looks different than being active for somebody else. For you, being active might mean that you got to do laundry and dishes in the same day, which is fantastic. Good for you. If you're able to do that, that's really, really good. Somebody else's level of activity might be being able to participate more in their kids' lives, making lunches, taking them to school, picking them up from school, playing games with them, and things like that. So activity it's not necessarily, yeah, I walked 2 miles today, okay? But a service dog can increase your ability to be more active than just, I laid in bed today and existed in horrible pain. Service dogs increase hope. And they increase hope across the board from all sorts of sources. The more independent you feel, the more confident you feel, the more you have hope in your future. CRPS future is pretty bleak because you have to accept that you're going to be in pain for the rest of your life, more than likely. But it doesn't have to be, I just existed in pain for the rest of my life. It is possible to have a life with CRPS. And in my opinion, as a CRPS handler, working with a service dog is definitely what gave me my life back. It increases your self-confidence because CRPS is, and there's two things that go with this. It increases your self-confidence because part of CRPS is being afraid of your entire world. Blankets hurt, hugs hurt, doorknobs are dangerous traps. What if I drop something? What if I fall? What if I get lost? What if the brain fog takes over and I don't remember where my keys are and I really, really have to get out of the house? Or get in the house because it's hot outside. So CRPS has a way of taking over and being this really bad, scary monster and causing flare fear, where you're afraid to do stuff because you know it's going to cause pain. Working with a service dog increases your confidence because you know the service dog has your back. You know the service dog is going to help you get through whatever CRPS moment you're having. And it's going to decrease your flare fear over time. You're going to be less afraid of your flares happening because you know the service dog is equipped to help you deal with them when they arise. And you also might have fewer flares depending on the level of work your service dog is doing for you, or the flares that you dreaded every day, like opening a door, those disappear because the dog's opening the door. And so that's not happening to you on a daily basis. And so it's not recurrent trauma every time you have to look at a door in your life. And so those two work together, and it's a benefit from working with a service dog. Another thing is working with a service dog decreases the worry that your loved ones are going to have about you. When the CRPS was getting worse for me, it was really hard for my husband to go to work and not just worry about me, because he knew I was a fall risk. He knew I couldn't tell temperatures right. He was worried about me burning myself. He was worried about me falling. He was worried about me getting stuck on the floor, or, he was also really worried about me being in bed all the time. He was really worried about me not being more active and not getting out there and not using my muscles, not using my body. And working with a service dog gives him the gift of not having to worry about me quite as much. I know he still worries about me because there's a lot of things the service dog can't do. And I'm pretty stubborn. And so he does still worry, and because he loves me. But he doesn't worry as much because, like, I have confidence in Austin to help me deal with the day-to-day CRPS moments and limit additional traumas that the CRPS might have caused, like from falling or running into something or tripping. he knows that Austin's got it. He knows that Austin has me covered, and he feels more secure in that I do have assistance. I have assistance every time I need to bend over to pick something up, or every time I need to change clothes. We've even gotten to a point where I can go back to showering by myself because I can have Austin in the bathroom with me. And if I fall in the shower, Austin can help me get up, or he can bring me my phone so that I can call my husband. And that is a tremendous gift that a service dog has given my loved ones by working with me. And on that tail, it gives you, when you work with a service dog, you end up having more balanced relationships with other people. And this may not be the case for every team. This also may not be the case if you need a service dog and a caregiver equally. But after my first service dog passed away, my husband and I were talking about him, and we were remembering all the good things about him. And one of us said that we're pretty sure Robbie helped our marriage. And that sounds weird. How could a dog help someone's marriage? But when I first got disabled by the CRPS, or when the CRPS really got a foothold and was taking up more and more of my life, I was very clingy. I'm not proud of it, but I was very clingy, and it was justified, but it took its toll. I would text my husband constantly when he was at work, complaining about the pain, or I needed help with every tiny little thing. And part of that was an adjustment period where I went from mostly functional to basically non-functional, and that was really hard on him. It was really hard on both of us, but it was harder on him because he was still trying to clarify old Sally, new Sally. And when Robbie came into the picture, training was its own strain on the marriage or relationship at that point. Because we were trying to train a dog together, and it was like a really intense team activity. But once Robbie started helping and was doing more and more tasks for me, the percentage of how much Adam needed to be my caregiver versus how much he was my husband shifted. And we think it shifted to about Robbie did 60 to 70% of the assistance for the CRPS, leaving Adam to only do about 30 to 40%. And it's still a lot of caregiving. It still takes its toll. But, and there was also, Robbie was, he was a really good service dog, but I think he only liked being a service dog for me. He's not, like, Austin is all about the job. He wants to do the job all the time. He does not care if Adam is home. He still wants to do his job. And Robbie, when Adam got home, Robbie would still help. He would still do his tasks when I asked him to. But if there were more than one occasion. There were plenty of occasions where he would be laying somewhere and I would call him for assistance to put clothes on or to get out of a chair. And I kid you not, he would look up. He wouldn't get up. He would just raise his head, look at me, take it in, and then he would look at Adam like, you're home. She's your responsibility now. Go take care of it. And if I insisted, he would come help. And I usually did because I wanted to reinforce, hey, no, when I ask for help, you need to come help me. But he was also really willing to, once Adam was home, I'm off duty. But it's still I think one of the reasons that our relationship does as well as it does is because he gets to be my husband. Clarification, Adam, not Robbie. He gets to be my husband. He gets to not be a caregiver 100% of the time. And I think that is really helpful. And that's not something that's going to be possible for everybody because everybody is affected by their CRPS differently. But even if you're not married, if you have a service dog helping you, it does take some of the strain off of your friends from having to help you all the time. My friend has to drive me everywhere, but she doesn't have to help me go to the bathroom. Austin can help with that. And so it also kind of helps smooth out weird spots in relationships, privacy and boundaries and things like that. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily consider as a benefit when they think about a service dog, but it is something that can be a huge benefit that kind of lurks in the shadows. You aren't necessarily aware of it until you start to think about it. And finally, something that comes when you owner train your service dog. So all of the above things can happen no matter how you obtain your service dog. If you owner train it, or you go through a service dog program, or you owner train it with a professional, you're going to have increased quality of life, increased confidence, increased independence, more stable pain and symptoms, all those fun things. But one thing that I've found, particularly with myself and when I work with other people with CRPS, is that when you owner train your own dog with CRPS, belief in yourself drastically goes up. One of the graphics I made for Disabled Advantage is a picture of Robbie at sunset that says, "I can't, I can try, I will, and let's do this." And that's a reminder for myself and for other people with CRPS. When I first started training my own service dog, I was working with a general dog trainer, and he would ask me to do stuff. Now, actually, he didn't ask me to do stuff. He told me to do stuff. And initially, my response left and right was, "Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. I can't possibly do that." And he pushed me to find a place where I could say, "I can try that. I don't know if I can do it, but I can try that." And over time, the more instances where I said, "I can try that," it became, "I will do that." And now, no matter how much pain I'm in, more often than not, I still have really bad days. Let's be honest here. There are days where I say, "Nope, I'm going to sit in my chair and watch TV today." But most of my days are now, "Let's do this." And that is a huge mental shift. That's something that therapists never got me to. But training a dog absolutely got me there. And I've been able to transfer that mindset of "let's do this" to other things, to trying new treatments, to figuring out an exercise regime for myself, for starting my own business, for going to things like events for my business, which are very straining on my CRPS and my mental abilities. But that's my approach now. I didn't believe in myself. I lost that when the CRPS took over because I thought the CRPS was in control of everything. And when I had a person who was, I don't want to say he was very patient, because he wasn't as patient as I try to be with people, but he had his moments. I had a person who was occasionally patient, but who pushed me to try harder, even when it hurt, even when I wanted to curl up in a ball crying because I was so exhausted and my muscles were shaking. He kept encouraging me to move forward. And the more progress I saw in Robbie, the more I believed in myself. So I tried a little harder. I tried to do a little bit more. And then I believed in myself more. And then more progress happened and more results happened. And then I looked back and went, oh, wow, I did that. Me. Severe CRPS, full body, muscle spasms, weakness, tremors, everything. I did that. I trained a service dog for myself. And that is a huge accomplishment for someone who was bedridden and could only do laundry. When you owner train, and this is why I especially encourage people with CRPS to work with a professional. I really want you to come work with me because I want to help you get the mindset of, yep, let's do this. I'm going to be more patient because I know what it's like to live with CRPS, but I am also going to push you because I know it's possible to get there. So, is a CRPS service dog a cure? No. Is it a life changer? Absolutely. If you have any questions or you would like to set up a free consult or coaching session with me, please send me a Patreon message. Thank you for listening.